So I thought I'd do a little video here on a do-it-yourself speaker kit for a project that I'm looking at potentially doing. So it's sort of an unboxing / assembly and test of one of these little systems. So what I've got here is a DeGraw do-it-yourself speaker kit, and you can find these on Amazon for Arduino and Raspberry Pi and other things. This one is $12, and what it does, it comes in this little case here, and it comes with a pair of these little 3-watt, I believe 8 ohm speakers, all tied together there. No connections on them, they just got bare wire at the moment. And it comes with a little 3.5mm audio jack in stereo, so it's got the 3 wires there for ground, left, and right audio. And then we have our little package, which includes an amplifier. So it's a little 5-volt amplifier here. Our audio input goes here, our 5-volt power goes here, and our left and right speaker outs go there. We have our little control chip driver along with a little capacitor, and then our on-off volume control. So it turns on there, increases, decreases the amplification, and turns it back to off. And it comes with a little washer and nut so you can mount this up on a panel. And that's basically all there is in the kit. It does include a little 2.5mm header here of DuPont connections, so you could solder these to it there, but of course it doesn't give you the female connections for the speaker or the audio jack here. It just gives you the header pins. But we're gonna do our own here because I'm gonna do this a little differently, which we'll see shortly. So what I plan to do is, for one thing, because again I'm going to use DuPont connections here, these 2.5mm hookups, and what I want to do is use an angled set instead of the straight ones. Because you see, it gives you the straight ones and then they go straight up and down, but what I want to do is have ones that are 90 degrees, so you can put it on there like so, and then our inputs will come from the back instead of the top of it, which is more preferred when you have it in a drive bay. So instead of the connections coming out the top, connections will come out the back, so it'll look a little neater. What we're going to do now is I need to strip the wires on here, and then we have to work with some female DuPont connections, which is going to be these. So let's see, I'm going to need a little wire stripper, which is not over here. A stripper. Let's see if I can strip those. I don't need to take a lot off for these DuPont connections. I just need a small amount. And that's about right. We don't need to take a whole bunch off. So we got that. Just these wires. Because the way these DuPont connections work is when we put them in there, it will both crimp the bare wire and then it will crimp kind of a strain relief right onto the insulation there. So we need to get some female pins out. Stack right here. So break 3 of these off. I had to say, I sort of figured out the best way to crimp these 2.5mm DuPont connectors. If anybody's ever worked with crimping these before, they're not exactly the easiest things to work with. And in fact, you really need to have a ratcheting crimper instead of just a spring-loaded one like this, because the idea is to put one of these terminals in here, let it ratchet and hold it, and then put the wire in and finish the crimping, and then it'll come out perfect. In this case, I have to kind of keep tension on the tool, so I need to put this into the correct spot. So I need to flip this over right there and get this into the crimper and just keep a little bit of pressure on it. Also verify where it is, just to make sure that it does crimp the whole connector where we want it. Obviously we don't want to crimp this part because that is where it goes into the housing to make the connection on the pins here. Plus also it has the little snap for the plastic enclosure to hold it in place. So let me find a wire. Find one of these. Crimp. And again, as I said, the trick is to put the connector in first, keep some tension on it, and then slide our wire in and then watch for where the wire is in there. And then when we got it in the right place, we go ahead and crimp it down. So that's sticking out too far, so I need to pull back about right there and crimp. And actually I need to go ahead and use the other crimper to make sure that that stays in place. Yeah. This is again the trick with these, getting this right. It's sort of crimped only the insulation part, but not quite. As I say, these things can be a bit of a bear to work with. Get this in the crimper here. Alright, that one looks like it's been crimped. Yeah, that one looks like it's been crimped. Go ahead and do it again just for good measure. Solidly crimped in there. Now let's work on the other two terminals. Let's work on this audio input terminal. Again, same thing as before. Get it into our crimper here. As I say, a ratcheting crimper would make this a lot easier. Unfortunately, this is just a spring-loaded one, so I gotta kind of keep one hand on it at all times. I gotta keep the pin from falling out. Where are you? Trying to see where the wire is in here too. Can be a trick. It fell out. That one didn't come out right. Shit. And we're gonna have to do that one over. Once it's been crimped down and the wire's not in it, you're not really gonna get it back. You're not really gonna get it back. See, these connectors can be, as I said, a bit of a trick to get right. And yes, you will waste quite a few just trying to get your crimp right. Okay, that one looks like it came out okay that time. Doing it over. So the last one is just the ground. And then putting them in the housing. And take one of these out again. Go ahead and cut off this strip. And then we got to repeat this process with the speakers. Now, because the speaker wire is a little bit larger gauge than what is on here, it might be able to crimp a little easier. Because having a little thicker wire also helps out. Okay, that's got terminal in there. That's got it crimped. The wire is a little too far forward in that for my liking though, but it will still work. It's a little too far forward, but it should be working. Now I just need to use a couple of these. Find ones that are all the same, because some of these singles I have are different lengths. So I like to find ones that are the same length here. Let's do the same length. Let's see. This one is actually shorter. There's another long one right there. Actually, for this, I kind of need short ones. Short. And then, if these are done right, you should be able to put these in, and they should have a nice little click sound as the locking tab here pushes down. I need to reset this one. Push down just a little bit there. Because I've taken these out from other ones, so I kind of have to reset these tabs a little bit. Back there. There we go. Got one. Get another one. Gotta reset the tab on this one too. What I'm just doing is pushing the little plastic tab back down because they're up a little bit. Because again, as I said, I pulled these out from other connectors at one time, and because of that, the tab is not going to lock unless I do that. That one's in. And the last one is just the ground. Getting that ground one in there. Let's see. Yeah, I should do that too. Quite locking. There we go, and that's our ground. So we got all three of our terminals now. on our little 3.5mm audio cable. So now I will go ahead and do that for the speakers as well. I'll kind of just skip ahead in that part of the video so it doesn't make it super long. So we'll go ahead and do these. Now after a little bit of work, we got our connectors onto our speakers there. And as I say, these DuPont connectors not the easiest connectors to work with, the crimp and whatnot. And it actually was going pretty quick till I got to the last one, and I had to do it like 3 times over. Anyone that works on stuff for a living or knows that everything goes pretty smooth when you're working on something with multiple components until you get to the last one, and then that one is the one that always gives you trouble. So we got that wired up now, so that's ready to go. Again, we have our 3.5mm cable that's also wired up and ready to go. So all that's left now is to take our amplifier and to go and solder all our 90-degree male headers onto here, like so. Once we get that on there. So I'll go pause the video, go take care of that, and we'll come back with this, and this should be ready to bench test. So we finished our soldering, got everything kind of on the bench here. You can see our soldering job on our amplifier here. Didn't come out too bad. You can get all our connectors hooked up there. Some of them fit a little better than others, but they're on there. So we have our 3.5mm audio jack hooked up to our stereo audio input, our 5-volt power, which is on our benchtop power supply here, which of course will allow us to check it for any kind of shorts or anything by limiting the amount of current for protection. And then again we have our left and right speakers hooked up to the outputs here. Again, some of these DuPont connections hook up a little better than others, but they should all have continuity on them. And then for audio, I guess I'll just use my phone when we get around to it, but for now I'm going to use the benchtop power supply set for 5 volts and low current, just to make sure we have no shorts. So let me bring current up, and I'm going to bring this up to 5 volts. So far there is no direct shorts, so obviously our soldering is good and the circuit board itself is okay. So got a little bit of current there. Again, we still have it set to the lowest amount. And now we're going to turn this on, see if anything happens on this supply. Okay, I don't know if you can hear it or not with the background noise there. But you can hear the audio pop from the speakers, which indicates that the amplifier is working and there is output going to the speakers. So that's good. That means we have no shorts on our amplifier, and our speakers appear to be working and have continuity. So I guess now I just need to find myself something to play back some audio. So let's see here. And quickly find one of my own YouTube videos with some sounds. Let's see what we find here. I'm thinking, how about some Windows sounds? Or maybe floppy drive sounds. Here we are, floppy drive sound. Of course, it has the one that I have with 3.5 and 5 1/4. Here we are. How about the one with just my 3.5? So let me start that video up. Let me get past the ad on it first. An ad for Fortnite on a video about A 3.5 floppy drive sound. Interesting how they came up with that. Alright, let's turn on our amplifier. I only seem to be getting audio out of this speaker at the moment. I wonder if it's my input connections. Stupid little connections here we're touching. That volume's pretty low though. Let's see. I am getting some occasional shorts for some reason. I'm getting a short. Okay, that's the audio for that speaker. Now I wonder if I've got something going on with the jack here. Okay, I'm going to disconnect that speaker because I want to know why. Let's see, that we don't have anything on this speaker over here. Let me just see if it's the audio channel. Let's see if it's the audio channel doing it. Wire came out of it. I told you these DuPont connectors were fiddly. So I can say after a little bit of troubleshooting, the problem simply was that we had a poor connection on the wire inside the connector for one of the audio channels, and the short that we were seeing was actually because I was touching the controller chip pins on the side here of the amplifier, and your body acts as kind of a conductor there, and it was putting too much amplification and shorts across the chip there, so that's what was going on. Otherwise, the amplifier works perfectly. And gets plenty loud. I can adjust the volume. I got the amplifier over here. Now I noticed the amplifier, if you turn it all the way up to max, it does take a while for that capacitor to charge up so that it can amplify the signal. charged up, then we'll put this one. So that is our little DeGraw do-it-yourself speaker amplifier kit.